how to actually show yourself to a lady so she'll in turn like you.
Yeah, but I think that most women, they would want to be with a guy for the same reason that the girls at the clubs do, and that's that somebody that they can talk to and will actually listen to them.
Interesting. Interesting. Now she brings a perfect little detail up to what most women want. They want someone that's going to listen to them, right, Donnie? That's what you're saying.
So,
They also, to bring another point to it, I think that every woman wants a man that's sure of himself. Now, when I say sure of himself, I mean not egotistical and not weak or submissive, if you want to call it that. They want a man that's right in between, right in that happy medium, as we like to call it. Somebody that's sure of themselves, knows who they are, knows what they can accomplish, and knows how to handle themselves. I think all women also want chivalry. Chivalry is definitely a word that is totally ignored nowadays. It's something that people, I think, tend to forget. And chivalry means basically manners and how to treat a lady, what you should do for her. Women now, not to sound offensive, tend to be more emotional than men. Men usually put their feelings away and they act out in more physical ways. Women are more emotional, so they need to be treated like a very emotional creature. Not to describe us as creatures, but that's what we are. We are animals, as evolution dictates. Women, like Dobby said, they want knowledge and honesty. That's another part. So you got a man that's sure of himself so far. That's what the women want. They want somebody that believes in chivalry, and they want somebody that has knowledge and uses more brains than brawn, basically, and they want honesty to go with that. From my own personal experiences, for the amount of women that I've ever dated or been with, I have found that honesty was always the best policy. I think that in some respects it backfired on me because I was always honest with women, and women want what my girlfriend called it, what they can't have. So when you are honest with a woman, sometimes it can backfire in her face, but I am not sitting here to say that. I say be honest. You must be honest with a lady. That is what she deserves. All human beings deserve honesty, but you must be honest with a lady. That is very important. Now, women also want what you call the Rock. They want not the Rock, Terry, what's his name, who is in the wrestling network, but they want their man to be their rock. Basically, that can be defined as many things and can be interpreted to however you see it. My definition of what being the rock is for your lady is a man that has the strength and the patience to overcome any obstacle, to be there and to stand tall and to have his woman be able to lean on her. And of course, now let's add for the last little part of that, I think women want a fairy tale. Now, before the show, Dobby had said to me, what do you mean by a fairy tale? And I said to Dobby, I said, well, what do you think a fairy tale means? Fairy tale is a fictional story about things that happen where, let's make an example here where a man, the Romeo and Juliet can be considered as a fairy tale in some respects, where the man crosses all these different obstacles and all these different hardships to eventually be there for his woman and climb the tower up the vine or the rope to be there for his woman, and that's considered a fairy tale. And every woman has an idea of a fairy tale. What Dobby actually added to it was a knight in shining armor, and that's what a woman wants. And that is the huge general idea of all the points that I just mentioned: the chivalry, the man that is sure of himself, the knowledge, the honesty, and the rock. That fairy tale is what all those things are encompassed under. Men tend to really have a lack of education, mostly because they're thick-headed in most respects, and they don't take into consideration the very minuscule points that people don't read between the lines. That's what it is. You must read between the lines with a woman. Not always just flaunting and throwing yourself out there. You can be honest, but you have to be tactical about the way you're honest about it, because you have to let somebody get used to you. And I think what a lot of guys do is they throw themselves into something, and they're really overbearing with it. They're trying to be honest, but they're going about it in very sluggish ways, so to speak. Dobby, do you have anything that you am I on the right track here? Is there anything that you would like to add to that about what I've said about those few undermining points of what most women want, which in turn will affect the man and let him understand how to actually get a lady, how to land that good catch.
I would think that most of your points, that a man be sure of himself, the chivalry, being honest, and just being the rock. There's so many guys that think that that's what they are, but if they really were the illusion that they feed themselves that they are, they would be that fairy tale that the girls want.
Right.
So if they're not getting the girls that they want, maybe they should take a serious look at reevaluating whether they really are that fairy tale or if it's just a dream that they're feeding themselves, and maybe they need to reevaluate who they are and how they're behaving.
And basically, it means following up with your words. It means if you're gonna, if
actions speak louder than words. So you can lie to yourself about how wonderful you are all you want, but if it's not there when it comes down to where the tire meets the pavement, if it's not there, it's not there. So the fairy tale's gone and the girl's going on to someone else.
Absolutely, and now a lot of women make the mistake, obviously, that they fall into that illusion and they almost come up with an idea. They believe in the idea of a man, but they don't actually stand forth and try to separate what their idea is from what reality actually is. Dobby makes a great point there to follow that up. If you're gonna portray yourself to a woman as being the Prince Charming, being the knight in shining armor, stand by it. If you're gonna talk the talk, walk the walk. Be the man. That's what we talked about last week, was being a man, and that's what it's all about. Don't act kiddish. Don't act like a little boy. Stand by who you actually are and what you portray to women. Because I'm going to tell you something, guys, that people don't realize in 2008 is that a woman is better than you in some respects. A woman should be treated. That's how I see women. They are better than you. They were put there for you. They are your better half, as they say. And I think that they should be treated that way. I stand up for them in that respect. I also...
There was a guy that I talked to this last week.
Okay.
It was really interesting when I talked to him. He was telling me how he did not go out of his way to put on. He had been dating this girl for not very long, and he didn't go out of his way to flood her with flowers and cards and lavish dinners and everything, because that's not the way that he is all the time. And he was just being really, it's obvious he put his best foot forward more times than not, but he still would be honest with her and getting her to know who he really is, and not just this fake front that he's putting onto her. So,
and that's another great additive that you've just made there, Dobby, because what a lot of guys tend to do is they meet a woman, they think, wow, we have so much in common, this is really great, and they just splurge, and they just throw this onslaught of swooning, as we can call it, quote unquote, swooning to a woman. And if you do that all in the beginning and you're not man enough to actually keep backing that up, then all you're going to do is lead your woman on, and she's going to expect way much more from you than actually is there. And I think that it should be something that you pace out.
I don't think it's so much that it's man enough to back it up as if that's not who you are, just be honest about it to begin with.
Which ties into one of my points about being honest, being knowledgeable and honest and reading between the lines, because women deserve that. They absolutely deserve that. They don't deserve the half-ass bullshit excuse. If you want a half-ass, go rent a donkey, right?
Yeah, if you are such a wimp that you have to dump a shitload of flowers on a girl every time you see her, then let her know that to begin with, because maybe she really likes to collect flowers and she'll put up with you for a while to get them.
Absolutely, and if you are a submissive guy, then make sure that she knows that. Keep those communication lines open. Speaking of communication lines, also I want you guys, if you are listening, please call in. Add your input. The number is 646-200-3976. Or if you just want to email after the show, email at anthony@americangigolo.org. Once again, if you are tuning in and you do want to see the dashing Anthony Schreiber, you can.
And modest too, don't forget that.
Dobby's hilarious sometimes. I gotta tell you.